And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm here on a brand new video for Gaming with GS, and today we're here on Guild Wars 2, and I want to talk a little bit about the new and improved Agony Infusion system. We're going to go a bit in depth, and I do have a video on Agony and the old Agony Infusion. If you're completely new to the game, if this is your first time doing Fractals, if you're looking for a video on Agony Infusions and you don't know what Agony is, I recommend you to check out the video I did earlier. And it's part of the old Agony Infusion, but watch the first portion of that video. It talks about Agony, what it is, why you need infusions and whatnot. If you're interested in that, definitely check the first video out that I made about this topic. I'll leave a link in the description as well as a card and annotation on screen right now. Otherwise, if you're familiar with the system, if you've already watched the previous video that I did, then from here on, we're going to take a look at the new system of infusions and how they work, how you can get your Agony Infusions, what types there are, and we're going to take a look at what improvements they've made. So let's go ahead and head into Fractals. I really like the new infusion system they have. I really like everything about the new Fractals. Everything that they've done in this update concerning Fractals is just really well done. The UI looks so nice. The infusions are just so much more simpler to understand, and in general, Fractals are just a bit more enjoyable for me to do now. You know, I love the fact that you can see the dailies in the UI. I don't need to keep on checking my achievements and whatnot. So there's a new vendor here. This one right here. And this is your Infusion Vendor, basically. Now, one thing to note is that you can actually get a lot more Agony resistance now, easier than you could before the patch. Before the patch, I was sitting at about 84 Agony resistance. Now, I'm able to slot everything into all of my gear, and I'm sitting at almost 120 Agony resistance. So that's already the plus side of this system, is that it's easier to slot infusions, and if you were having some limitations or troubles or restrictions before the patch, try to see if you can boost your Agony resistance a bit more. Now, before we go into the slotting of Agony Infusions, I do want to go over amulets real quick. Amulets are the only piece of gear that will have an enrichment infusion slot. Enrichment infusion slots are basically boosts to your character, whether it be a magic find boost, whether it be a gold find boost, whether it be experience boost, or whether it be a karma boost. I think those are all the ones that I can remember off the top of my head right now. But essentially, those are the enrichment infusions. You can only buy one of these infusions to put into a amulet. So if you have an ascended amulet, make sure you equip a enrichment infusion into it. Now, I do have a whole video on how to get your ascended trinkets. They're probably the easiest piece of ascended equipment you can get. Your trinkets, which include your amulet, your rings, your accessories, and your backpack. These are probably the easiest to get. If you want to check that video out on how to get your ascended trinkets, I'll leave a link in the description as well, and an annotation and a card on screen right now. That being said, you do need to have ascended gear to slot in infusions, meaning if you want to slot infusions into your gear, you need to have ascended gear. If you want to slot infusions into your weapon, you need to have an ascended weapon. Similarly, you need to have ascended trinkets to slot infusions into them. I have a whole series on creating your ascended trinkets, your ascended weapons, your ascended armor, and like I said, all that is in the description below if you'd like to check it out. So we've gone over enrichments, and we've gone over the fact that you need to have ascended gear. With exotic gear, you cannot insert Agony Infusions, so you need to have ascended gear. Now, the way this new system works, if you're a veteran player, it can be kind of confusing, because the thing is, we used to have something called versatile infusions. Let me see if I can find them on my gear here. Here we go. As you see, I have a precise +7 Agony Infusions. Now, originally, these were a +5 and a +5. You would usually craft these in the Mystic Forge, and they would cost a lot of money to craft. You need a lot of tier 6 materials, and when you finally crafted it, you could slot these into your weapon. I had them in my weapon. Well, now, if you had crafted some of these very expensive infusions, they basically get boosted up to a +7 from a +5. So you basically have the stat infusions, and you can put them into any piece of ascended gear. It's kind of confusing for veteran players because we have these, and right now, these are sort of like obscure because we crafted them in the Mystic Forge. And then we also had something that was called simple infusions, which are these right here. You see +7 simple infusion. Now these you could buy from the Fractal vendors. Well, if you are a veteran player and if you had one of these infusions or you had one of the simple infusions, you can now upgrade your +5 +7 infusion to a +9 infusion, +9 Agony Infusion, which I'll go over in just a second to the vendor. And if you have these simple infusions, you can actually refund them for all of your fractal relics, or you can just keep on using them. So it can be a bit confusing because there's lots of different infusions now if you are someone who's done fractals for a while. However, if you are a new player to fractals, if you have no infusions whatsoever, this system is so much easier and so much more understandable that you won't run into any problems or misunderstandings. So let's go ahead and take a look at the vendor here. Now, before the patch, you used to have to use the artificing station to get your Agony Infusions up to a very high amount, like a +11 or a +10 or a +9. You needed to have artificing, and to boost them up to this high level, you need to use the crafting station. Well, now you don't need to use the crafting station anymore. If you desire to have something above a +11, for example, a +12 or a +13, which I don't know why you would want, because essentially you could get to max agony resistance. You could get to all the agony resistance you need for all the fractals with just +10s and +11s. So there's no need for you to craft a +12 or for you to craft a +13. There's really no need. But if you desire to do so, you will have to go to the artificing station again. Otherwise, most of us are probably just going to be using this vendor now. This vendor is basically equivalent to the crafting station. This gold cost is basically how much it will cost if you were to buy catalytic reagents to upgrade your Agony Infusions. Now, don't let all these tabs confuse you. The way I like to think of this is, if you want to buy any of these, you need to have +1 Agony Infusions. If you want to buy any of these, you need to have +3 Agony Infusions. If you want to buy any of these, you need to have +5 Agony Infusions. So the tabs on the left side are basically telling you what you need to have to buy. So here, you need to have +1s to buy any of these. So before the patch, we needed to have a bunch of +1s to upgrade to +2s, then a bunch of +2s to upgrade to +3, and a bunch of +3s to upgrade to +4. And then we kind of had to keep going up the ladder. Well, now what you can do, if you have a ton of +1s, you can immediately just make a +9 or a +11. If you have some +3s, you can just upgrade them to a +5. Similarly, if you have +5s or +7s or +9s, you can upgrade them here as well right off the bat. You don't need to go through the entire ladder of going to +4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 just to get to 10 or just to get to 11. So that makes it very easy and very convenient. Now, for me, and if this seems too confusing to you, like, having to go through all these tabs, I would recommend just staying with this tab right here. Just gather a bunch of +1s, and you can get a lot of these Agony Infusions from doing fractals. When you finish a fractal, you're going to get a ton of +1s. If you do lots of fractals, you'll probably have a lot of these +1s already. So what you can then do with these +1s, you can then use them to upgrade to higher levels. Now, be careful, because what happens is that if you were to upgrade all of your +1s into a +3, you can no longer use that +3 to buy a +5 from here. You need to go to the +3 tab. So if you were to want to upgrade to a +5, you would need this many +3s. So as you're upgrading, make sure that you're aware you have to go through these tabs, because if you have +5s, you're not going to be able to buy a +7 or a +9 from this tab. You have to go to +5s to buy a +7 or a +9. If you don't want to deal with that entire hassle of keeping track of what you have and having to use the correct tab, just use the first tab. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to collect 256 +1s to then craft a +9. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And then at that point, if you wanted to upgrade your +9, all you got to worry about is going to the +9 tab to get a +11. It seems much more easier than having to go through the hassle of, dealing with +3s, +5s, +7s. Because quite frankly, if you take a look at this, the difference between crafting a +3 and a +5 is only a few +1s. So you may as well just save up for a +9 or a +7, because the difference isn't that much. In fact, if you do fractals a lot, you can easily get 256 plus ones in no time. You can get this in a day. You can get 256 plus ones in a day very easily, and you can get a +9. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be worrying about this tab right here. I'm not going to bother with any of these tabs. Maybe I'll bother with this tab right here, because to get a +11, you do need to have over 1,000 +1s, and I'd rather just get a bunch of +9s and upgrade to a +11. So that's kind of how the infusion upgrading works. Now, once you have your infusions, what you can then do is slot your infusions into any piece of ascended gear. I'm going to go ahead and real quick extract some of my infusions so I can show you what's going on here. And we'll go over the extraction process in just a second. But this is how the extractor works. You buy an extraction kit, then you just drag one of your items in here, click extract, and it basically gives you everything back. It gives you your infusions back, and it gives you your item stays in your inventory like so. But I'm just going to do this so I can explain a few more things. So what you'll see is that on your weapon, you will see unused infusion slots. There's no longer the offensive infusion slot and the defensive infusion slot. All that stuff is gone. Now, if you wanted to put an offensive infusion such as a precise infusion, or if you wanted to put a defensive infusion such as a vitality infusion, you can put that into basically anything, which makes it really nice. So here you see unused infusion slots. Weapons give you 2. Armor usually gives you 1 infusion slot. And then your trinkets, they can give you up to 3. Now what you'll notice here is that if you buy your ascended rings from the Fractal vendor here, there are several ways to get your ascended rings. You can buy them from the Fractal vendor here though. They come with 1 infusion slot, right? However, if you look at my rings, I have 2 infusion slots, and that's because I've upgraded my ring up to a attuned ring. An attuned ring will give you 2 infusion slots. I will leave a recipe on screen right now. I'll show you an example of how to upgrade your regular ring into an attuned ring, and that will give you 2 infusion slots. Now, if you want to get another level higher, if you want to get 3 infusion slots, you need an infused attuned ring, and that'll give you 3 infusion slots. That will require you to buy some of these items. If we go to this tab right here, the last tab, these items are required to upgrade your attuned ring into an infused ring. The neat thing about this vendor here is that these used to be RNG drops. Now you can actually buy them with just flat gold and relics, which makes it really nice. Now be aware to buy any of these. If you want to buy the extraction kit, which you can buy here for some silver, this basically just, if you want to upgrade, say you have in your ring a +9 and you want to upgrade to a +11, you'll need to use this extraction kit to take out the +9, upgrade it to a +11, and then put it back into the ring. So this extraction kit's very useful if you're upgrading infusions in between fractal runs. So this is the extraction kit. This item right here, you're going to need to upgrade your ring from a regular ring to an attuned ring, as you saw in the recipe on screen. And these items you will need to upgrade to an infused attuned ring. Now be aware that these items right here, you can only buy if you have the mastery rank. And the mastery rank is right here in masteries, and you go to fractal attunement. You need to have the first one right here. The first mastery track in fractal attunement needs to be complete, and then you have access to these items here. So I recommend, highly recommend, to do the first fractal mastery track so you can actually buy an extraction kit, and so you can actually upgrade your rings to an attuned ring. And if you want to upgrade to an infused, you can buy these. So that's kind of how your infusions work and how to slot them into here. As you can see, all you gotta do is just double click them, and then you can slot them into your ring or into your weapon like I do right here. You see, you pick an infusion slot, you click upgrade, and then you can continue to add the other one. I'm gonna keep this one out though because I want to explain something else real quick. Now what there's also newly added are these cool attribute infusions. So remember how I said that we used to have to go to the Mystic Forge to craft them? They were very expensive. Well, now you can just buy them straight off from the Fractal vendor here with Fractal currency. You need to have relics, and you need to have stabilizing matrices to buy one of these items. With one of these items, then you need to buy 5 of them to get a +5 and a +5, or you need to have 10 of them to buy a +5 and a +7, or you need to have 20 of them to buy a +5 and a +9. Obviously, everyone's going to want to get these because they give you the most agony resistance and they give you the same attribute stat increase. So everyone's going to want to get these, right? So you need 20 of these, which means now stabilizing matrices are actually going to be a bit more relevant to everyone, because before they used to only be relevant to people who wanted to make the legendary backpack. Now, at least they're more relevant to everyone because you need them to actually get some of these infusions. This is why these have actually gone up in price a bit on the trading post. So these are now very easy to get. You don't need to craft a Mystic Forge anymore. They're a bit cheaper now as well. And what you need for this is just this currency right here. And to buy this, you need to have relics and stabilizing matrices. And all you then need is the +9s here. Or if you want to get these, you need a +7. Or if you want to get these, you need to have a +5. And you need to have 3 each of these. So if you're someone who wants to get some of these are the currencies you need. However, for those of us who are veteran players, as you can see, well, I don't have them right now because I didn't extract them. But you see, I have one precise one in here, and then I have another precise one in here. I have 2 precise Agony Infusions, right? What I can do is, if you have some of these already, you can actually upgrade. You see you need 2 precise Agony Infusions here? Well, I have those already. I have them because I crafted them in Mystic Forge. You already have 2 of these. You can basically upgrade them to 1 +9 already, which is really neat, because that way these are not going to waste. Basically, you don't need to have these fractal matrices. All you need is your precise +7 Agony Infusions, or whatever stat type you have. And with those 2, you can then upgrade to a +5, +9. However, you do still need 6 +7 Agony Infusions. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, wow, I have these 2, but I don't have a bunch of +7s. I want to quickly get my +7s. Well, there's a neat little tab here that allows you to do Deconstruction. So as you can see here, I have a +11 here. I can actually get 2 +10s by deconstructing this +11 to a +10. I can then deconstruct my +10, for example. I can then deconstruct my 2 +10s for 4 +9s. And I can then deconstruct my 4 +9s to 8 +8s. And then I can keep on going down the list to get a bunch of +7s. And well, then guess what? Then you can finally craft your +5, +9 here with these 2. So they do allow you to deconstruct your Agony Infusions if you wish to do so. So if you're someone who has 2 of these and you need some of these, you can easily do it through Deconstruction. Deconstruction is also very useful if, for example, you accidentally upgraded and now you all of a sudden have lower agony resistance. Because the way it works is, let me just explain this portion, because this can be very important too, and you may not realize it when you do it. Be aware about this. So you'll see that you need to have, if I go to +9s real quick, to make a +11, you need to have 4 +9s, right? Now, let's say this. Let's say you have 4 +9s, right? Say you have a +9 here, a +9 here, a +9 here, and a +9 here, right? So that means you have 36 agony resistance. Say you have a +9 in all 4 of these pieces of gear. You have 36 agony resistance. Well, you're probably thinking, hey, I want to upgrade to a +11. Well, that's great. You can do it. But what's going to happen is you're going to need to use that 36 agony resistance, those 4 +9s, just to make 1 +11. And then guess what? You basically went from 36 agony resistance to 11 agony resistance. So if you happen to make a mistake like that, you can always deconstruct it again by going to this tab here. You can deconstruct your +11 back down to +9s. What you need to be aware about is that if you're going to make a +11, make sure that you're not losing agony resistance. Make sure you have like 8 +9s. Instead of having 4 +9s, make sure you have 8 +9s. That way when you upgrade, you're not losing any agony resistance. Because if I have 4, say I have 4 +9s, right? And I go do some fractals and then I finally upgrade everything. Don't just slot more +9s into your gear, because you want to use them to upgrade to +11. That's kind of what the idea is. You need to be aware that just because you're upgrading doesn't mean increasing in agony resistance. Sometimes you'll be decreasing in agony resistance because you're using some of your agony resistance that you have already to convert to higher ones. So when you're doing this, just be careful. Think about what you're doing. Try to do the math beforehand. Try to think about, okay, if I'm going to upgrade, you know, if I'm going to upgrade 4 of these, I'm going to be losing, you know, 36 agony resistance, but I'll get a plus 11. But it doesn't matter because I already have, you know, 2 other plus 11s in my inventory, and I can make up for that. You know, whatever. Just try to think ahead before you do this type of stuff. And yeah, it's pretty much how agony resistance works in the infusions. For your backpack, backpacks, you can attune these as well. Regular backpacks, they come with, well, you can infuse them, not attune them. You can infuse backpacks. Regular ascended backpacks only come with 1 infusion slot, but you can infuse them to have 2 infusion slots. How to infuse these? It's different for every backpack. If you have the Madri backpack like I do, it's very easy to infuse it. However, some other backpacks require a bit more materials and require a bit more gold. If you want to infuse your backpack, I highly recommend looking on the wiki. Type in the name of your backpack and see how you can infuse it on the Guild Wars 2 wiki, because it's different for every backpack. So that's kind of, you kind of have to look that up yourself. But other than that, that's kind of how infusions work. Just gather your low tier infusions, upgrade them to higher ones, then slot them into any piece of ascended gear, and keep on collecting and keep on upgrading like so. And if you want to get these attributes if you happen to be a veteran player and you happen to have some of the old plus 5s and plus 7s, then you can use them to upgrade. Otherwise, just try and gather these with your fractal relics and stabilizing matrices, and then, you know, buy the stat types with the new currency here and with the appropriate agony infusion. And that's kind of it. That's kind of everything about agony infusions. You have any questions, have any comments, any feedback, have any tips that I probably missed, or you know how to explain it a little better, if I messed up on something, check in the comment section below. Leave a comment down below. We're all here to learn. So if you're still confused about something, either ask a question down below in the comment section or look in the comment section. Some people may have already answered your question. I'll definitely be down there answering any questions you have. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Plenty of other Guild Wars 2 content on the channel. Plenty of other Guild Wars 2 guides to come in the future as well. You can also donate $1 to my Patreon page. Anything as low as that is very helpful and very much appreciated. All you gotta do is click the card in the top right hand corner of the screen and it'll bring you to the page. I also have a vlogging channel, tutorials channel, music channel, and advice channel. You want to check those out, links in the description as well as on the end card. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching as always, and this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.